Recently, during a dinner that my friend Jeff and I had, some interesting things popped up, dealing with his relationship with the Paul Mitchell schools, but more important, he was doing some things in his salon, which is one of the most successful salons around, that I found most interesting, that our future professionals and everyone in the industry should know about. So, Jeff, I may want to say this, as a Paul Mitchell focused salon, you formed an amazing relationship with our schools and our students, but tell me about the people you've hired and the things you've learned.
So we got involved with the schools about 7 years ago. And when we first were introduced to the school and took a tour of the school, we were blown away by the energy, the vibe, the culture. It took us all about 30 seconds to realize that we had to be a part of this, that what was going on there was really special. And we have basically reinvented our business around the schools. We only hire future professionals and we train them and then help them build careers. And it's been both a amazing, incredible journey. I absolutely enjoy developing careers, but it's also been very challenging too, and we've learned just an incredible amount. And this is a very young industry, and we're dealing with millennials, and they are shaped by what's going around in their lives these days. And so we've learned a great deal, and there's 4 main things that we've really had challenges with. And so we've really been learning how to deal with those things.
I'm sure our students want to know about those 4 challenges. Can you tell us a little more about the 4 challenges?
So the first one is an unrealistic expectation of what it takes to develop a career. This generation is used to things happening now, very, very quickly. And careers don't develop now. They take lots of years. It takes hard work and devotion. We know that to be a professional, to be an expert at anything, it takes 10,000 hours before you are considered an expert, baseline expert. So that takes a long time. So I think that's the first thing, is a mindset of how long it's going to take to become an expert. The second issue that we seem to face regularly is difficulty with managing emotions, poor coping skills. And in this business, that is vitally important because we're dealing with lots and lots of human beings, and it's very dynamic, and you have to be able to deal with different situations on the fly. And when things don't go your way, and they often don't, you need to be able to handle that. So coping skills is a really big one. The third one that we see a lot is focus skills. This business, you have to be engaged with the guest that's in your chair 100%. And then the next guest and the next guest. And you have to hold that kind of focus all day long. And that is a challenging thing to do. So focus skills are huge, and it is a skill. And then the fourth thing, which is probably the most important one, is we're seeing a lack of social skills. We're seeing a lot of underdeveloped social skills. And I think a lot of these things are technology driven. It's if when you're young, you're supposed to be developing your social skills. That's when your brain is really mushy and you're learning those things. And when you're doing much of your socialization through a phone, you just don't develop the way you should. And we're seeing that. In our industry, the foundation for what we do is social. You know, our industry evolved. It wasn't invented, and it started from social grooming. So that is the core of what we do. And so those are some of the challenges that we see.
Developing a loyal guest is one of the most important aspects of being successful. What does that include, and how do you train your team to develop that loyalty with every single guest?
So first you need to know what the skills are. We've broken it down into two major categories: soft skills and hard skills. The hard skills are measurable skills. Those are the things that are easy to recognize if you're doing correctly or not. For instance, can you do a graduated bob? It's a pass or fail. Can you formulate color? Again, we know if you're doing what you need to do. Your numbers, are your numbers there? Are you retaining new guests? Are you upselling your tickets? Are your numbers where they need to be? We know if you've done well with those or not. But more importantly, or as importantly, are soft skills. And the soft skills are the foundation of how we build rapport and trust with the guest. And those are just as important. I think one thing all students need to know is just because you're very talented at doing hair does not mean you're going to be successful in this business. We've seen so many talented hairdressers that don't make it. And so that goes to the soft skills. So we try to teach what those skills are. And we've broken those down into two things, which are emotional intelligence or emotional skills and social intelligence or social skills. And that's how we kind of define what that is.
Jeff, you mentioned about these social skills and skills that aren't really taught in many classrooms or in any books. Not only are they important skills, but for a professional in this industry that needs to develop these skills, how would they go about developing these skills you just mentioned?
So that's an interesting one, because you're right, there's not a lot of classes. In fact, I don't really know of many, although a lot of the colleges are doing a lot of things these days.
But you're doing it now, which is
We're
great.
doing it now.
We're doing it
yeah.
right now. This is great.
We're doing
This could
it
be
now.
the first class in the history of the professional school beauty industry.
Mindfulness is one of the things that we talk about often. Mindfulness is awareness, being more aware of your surroundings and essentially how you affect other people. We tend to have a human trait that's called, affectionately known as monkey brain, whereas we kind of spin on things, whether past things or worrying about future events, and not spent in time now. And so that's one of the things, is just understanding that when you quiet your brain down and you become a little more focused, your ability to understand how you're affecting another human being goes way up. Also, one of the big skills that we talk about a lot, probably the most important, is empathy. Empathy is massively important. It's very, a lot of people confuse empathy with sympathy, and they're not anywhere near the same. Sympathy means you have to place some kind of a judgment, whether you agree or disagree with someone's life situation. Empathy is really only about understanding another human being. Giving back is such a powerful way to demonstrate that, and especially when you are dealing with touch. Touch amplifies emotions, and emotions are contagious. The giving back thing is so powerful, because we, just last week, we went and cut hair for some homeless people, and that's something we do regularly. And so it's really funny with these kids, especially the ones that have never done this before. You know, they're a little apprehensive, like, I don't know, I really haven't worked with homeless people before. And so we go to this shelter, and we deal with these people. And what's amazing is it's not what you would think. It's mostly families and lots of kids, which is really sad, but that's how it is. And we go there, and these people know that we're there giving of ourselves, giving our day off to be there. And it's not about money, and it's not about a photo op. It's truly about just giving back. And when you do that, you're being compassionate. And when you show someone compassion, especially people that don't really feel like they matter, you know, because a lot of these people, that's how they feel. And they realize that you're just there to be compassionate, to give to them. And they, in turn, are grateful. They feel our compassion, and they become grateful. And what's amazing is their gratitude we feel because of this emotional contagion. And by the time you're done with doing that, we did about 60 heads of hair that day. By the time you're doing that, you just feel so amazing. Your gratitude is off the charts for what you have and the fact that you can do this with your hands. You know, it's great to write a check, but when you actually work with a human being and you get to have that connection and that exchange, it's a beautiful thing. And so I think thanks to you, because these kids are primed when they get into our salon to give back, because you guys teach that. And it's so valuable in this world to do that. And one other example of empathy that I think is amazing, and you can find it on the internet. It's a 2.5-minute clip, and it's of you on Shark Tank. And it's really interesting because Johnny is on that show, and he's got this great device. And it's an exciting device because it looks like it could do a lot of good in the world. And so he's sharing his device, and Mr. Wonderful, or maybe not so wonderful, I call him, he's trying to connect with Johnny and explain to him how business works and what we have to do to get this off the ground. And he's getting frustrated, and he can't connect with Johnny, and he says, "Oh, I'm out, forget it. Missed opportunity." And you can see you on the screen, you're very quiet, you're listening, huge part of empathy, listen more, speak less. And you are understanding where he's coming from. That's empathy. You understand his emotional feelings about, this is for the farmers. This is for, I can't charge them all this money. It's the farmers. He's trying to help the farmers. That's his passion. That's his purpose. And you had the wisdom to see that through empathy. And then when you decide to actually say something, you connect with them on that sweet spot because you understand him. And with that understanding, you do something with it. And so you connect with him, and it's really great because you're saying exactly the same thing as the other guy. No different, but it's the way you said it and the way you connected with him. And what's truly amazing to me, from my perspective, is that I'm at home with my wife, Jamie, watching the show. And you connect with this guy, and it's a very emotional thing, and we feel that through empathy. We feel that connection, and we're like, "Oh my God, can you believe how great this is?" And she's in tears, and I'm all watery, and there must have been 1 million people watching that. And anybody that paid attention to that felt the ripple of that connection. And that is so powerful. And that's in a nutshell what empathy is.
Are there any suggestions you might have for our students on calming yourself down so you're right there in the present, the here now?
Right. The first thing I would say is be self-empathetic, which means just understanding where you're at emotionally. And once you have an understanding of yourself, then you have a better understanding of other people. But it starts with you. And the way you quiet your brain down, first of all, put the phone down. If you want to learn how to have good interpersonal connections, you got to be with people and not living in an artificial world.
What you had mentioned here during this explanation is something that everyone has got to know. And you mentioned it briefly. I just want to emphasize it because it's all in one word, listening. Yeah. To be empathetic, to be a very good communicator, you have to be willing to sit and listen to every word the other person says. And don't form an opinion, just listen to what they say. Be the observer without any opinion. Just listen to what they have to say. And then when you do react to it, you react on behalf of both of you. Just in business meetings I've had in and out of the industry or social meetings where someone says, "Well, just wait a minute, I've got to check my text." Or, "Oh, well, something just buzzed." And they look at it. Well, this makes no sense because if you're going to communicate with someone, I believe you both have to be there. Yes. Where one must talk, the other one must hear and respond that they're hearing. Absolutely. And you couldn't possibly hear if you're waiting for something to call your attention goes there. So I think what you're saying is that the guest deserves your 100% full attention. No matter what's happening in your own life, put it aside, shut that phone off for sure, just put it away. Give them 100% of the attention. See where they're coming from. Are they having a bad day, a good day? Do they feel terrible? What do they want to accomplish in their life? Whether it's socially or whether it's business-like, that the hair can help them with. Yeah. Or maybe just a conversation with you. They have this old saying that if you're going to get a divorce and you go to a hairdresser, she says, "Oh my God, I think I'm going to get a divorce from my husband." Well, a smart hairdresser says, "Well, why don't you call on 2 hairdressers to get 2 professional opinions on the 2? Right. But anyways, there's a statement that you only get 1 shot at the first impression. Yeah. Where What skills do you teach people to work on with your team so that they create that first impression, that trust, and that confidence with every new guest?
There are so many aspects to that, and it's so vitally important because you make a intuitive feeling about someone in less than a second. Before you've even had time to think about why you like someone or you don't like someone, you intuitively feel that. So it's so important that you have the right image statement. So again, I think it goes back to being self-empathetic and getting your place to a very calm, neutral place. One of the things that we see often, and it's an absolute setup for failure, is if you are emotionally up and down when you come into work, you're going to have some really hard times connecting with your clients. And if you, for instance, if you were a brand new client in our salon, you're there because you probably had a bad experience somewhere else. That's why you switched. And when you walk into a salon for the first time, you can be a little bit anxious, a little bit nervous. And if I say, like, just coming here today, for instance, stuck in traffic, and your anxiety goes up because you want to get there on time, you want to get there. And you walk through the door, and you've got high anxiety, and then you go to meet John Paul, my first client, who's already anxious about being there. And now, because of my anxiety, I go to say hello to you, and when you take anxiety mixed with anxiety, you just create more anxiety. And so it's really important that as soon as you walk through that door, you're calm, and you check in with yourself. And not only calm, but the way you hold yourself and the way you think, okay? So you need to think that in a confident way. You need to have your shoulders back, nice body language. When I come up to meet you, exactly, that's very good. When I come to meet you, I need to know how to make good eye contact. I don't want to make too much eye contact and look crazy, crazy eyes, but nice eye contact. Hello, my name's Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, John, nice to meet you. So again, the handshake, we take that for granted that these kids understand how to do this, and that's not necessarily the case. A handshake, nice firm handshake, not a weak little limp thing. All those things make people get a very strong impression of who you are. Are you confident? And so what I'm trying to do is, by showing you that I know how to do this, that I'm a professional, I'm going to calm you down. And then you're going to feel better about where you're at. And then especially when we take you back to the wash house, that is the most amazing tool we have to make somebody calm down and be able to connect with them. Because once you start massaging someone's head and neck, there's this flood of opiates that go into your system and make you feel good. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and those things reduce stress, and they create bonds, and they create a sense of well-being. And so when you do that, then you bring that anxiety that you might have had down, way down. And now when I take you to the chair, you're a lot more open to a conversation. You're not so shut down. And what's amazing about when you create that oxytocin in someone, it also is created in yourself. So I'm feeling good as well from that experience. And then when we start the service, you're going to be a lot more open to our conversation. Now it's up to me as a professional to see what it is that you want to talk about. What are you comfortable with? Who are you? And that's how we start to develop the rapport, the back and forth.
Sure. And one thing I noticed, by the way, when Jeff was talking to me, using that as an experiment, when he first said, "Hi, how are you?" he smiled. Very important. He looked at me, he didn't look at like that, as he said, but he smiled and said, with a nice, gentle smile, "Hi, how are you? I'm Jeff, welcome," a nice handshake. Many times also students, and everybody, not just students, have a hard time looking people right in the eye. And I know, Jeff, what I found, and I try and tell students many times, is if you can't look them straight in the eye, look in between the eyes or at their eyebrows. It looks like you're looking them in the eye. But very important to just make that initial contact. And our commitment to helping salon owners build their business includes an experimental marketing concept. We call it the 6 economics, where you break the salon down into 6 different units. 6 different enterprises where income would come through, product, services, and so forth. But I know that you came up with a 7th area of economics. Would you share that with us, please?
Well, the 7th area that we talk about is the emotional economy. Emotions are so incredibly important. It creates the vibe, the energy of a space, of a group, of an organization. And so we really look at, of course, making money is, you have to make money. That's what a business does. But for us, the most important thing is the health of the company, that the people that are working there feel good and feel connected to each other and want to help each other creatively and really pay attention to how they're making each other feel. And I think that cuts down, number one, on the problems that you have with people and how they interact with each other, because they're more mindful and they're more aware of each other. But also, it's huge for our customers. When they walk into the salon, they feel that vibe, they feel that energy, and they love it, and they want to be a part of it, and you hear it all the time. And I think overall, you know, when it comes to financial situation, that's up and down. That changes all the time. But the one thing that you want consistent is people that really love what they do and where they do it at. And I think that really plays a massive role in our success. And the clients, like I said, they absolutely love to walk into our salon and they get that feeling and connect with not just their hairdresser, but all the other people in the salon. And it's almost like, reminds me of that show Cheers, you know, when you walk in and it's like Norm, you know, it's that kind of thing where people just feel like this is their home. And I think that goes to the emotional economy. That's that loyalty that you build with your guests.
And it's obvious, when I walk into your salon, and you have dozens of hairstylists working in your salon, big, beautiful salon, but walking in there, you have that sense of you're in an energetic organization. You're home. You feel comfortable. I think that's very important. When people come to a salon and they feel comfortable, they want to go back because they feel important. So it's just, walking in yours is like walking into, my God, some of our, in fact, all of our Paul Mitchell schools. There's energy, there's excitement. People are happy at what they're doing, and you feel it when you go in. It's not like a really boring situation. There's that liveness in it. And each student contributes to that by just staying alive the same way you did in school. And I think that's a very, very good point. And when you look at the things that Jeff is doing, these things he's pointing out, these are all important things, because he is one of the most successful salon owners that are out there in the world today, one of the most successful. And the dozens of people that work in his salons with him, they're probably more partners with him. That's what they feel like. And they're smiling. They're part of something that's very, very special. Just like you're part of something that's very, very special. And I really appreciate this time that you're taking, Jeff, to sit down here with me and share this information with our students. Out of sight.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor.
Hey, from all of our students to you, a lot of peace, love, and happiness. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, guys.